Hey, what's up, everybody? June 2023 is going to be a pretty big month, in my opinion, for the price of gold and silver. June has just arrived. As of the recording of this video, it is currently June the 2nd, 2023. Now, you may be asking yourself, why is June a pretty big month for the price of gold and silver? We're going to discuss that in this video. In this video, I'm going to give you some key dates to watch for, but I do believe this is going to be a big month for the price of gold and silver. Which way is gold and silver going to go? So let's discuss it. Please, if you don't mind, consider hitting that thumbs up button on this video. The key to all of this, in my opinion, is which way is the Federal Reserve going to go? We're going to talk about when the FOMC is going to be having their meeting. We're going to talk about when CPI data is going to be coming out. The FOMC, Federal Reserve, is going to be meeting on June the 13th and 14th, with June the 14th being the announcement from Jerome Powell when he takes that podium. This is going to be the key in everything. What is he going to do? Is he going to increase interest rates by another 0.25% or 25 basis points? Is he going to take a pause? I think today's numbers that came out, the job numbers, is going to be one of the big factors he is going to be looking at if he's going to raise interest rates or not. We're going to talk about that job number, but also CPI data is going to be coming out. CPI data will be released prior to this announcement as well, and that is also going to be key, I believe, if Jerome Powell is going to increase interest rates or take a pause. All of the other federal funds rate increases was pretty easy to call. I think those were no-brainers that the rate was going to go up. Sometimes there was a question of 25 basis points versus 50 basis points, or 50 basis points versus 75 basis points. But the question now is he going to raise rates at all, or is it going to be a pause? All the other increases, it wasn't really a question. We knew he was going to raise rates. The question was going to be by how much. I do have an opinion on which way he should go, and we're going to get to that in just a few moments. But first, let's discuss the jobs report that came out today, because like I previously stated, this was just one of the very important announcements that's going to probably dictate which way he goes. According to CNBC, non-farm payrolls in May increased by 339,000 jobs, better than the 190,000 Dow Jones estimated. The unemployment rate rose to 3.7% in May against the estimate for 3.5%. May's jobless rate increase was the highest since October 2022. I'm going to reference a little bit of the CNBC article that was just released moments ago. It says the U.S. economy continued to crank out jobs in May, with non-farm payrolls surging more than expected despite multiple headwinds, the Labor Department reported Friday. Payrolls in the public and private sectors increased by 339,000 jobs for the month, better than the 190,000 Dow Jones estimated, and marking the 29th straight month of positive job growth. The unemployment rate rose to 3.7% in May against the estimate for 3.5%, even though the labor force participation rate was unchanged. The jobless rate was the highest since October, though still near the lowest since 1969. Average hourly earnings, a key inflation indicator, rose 0.3% for the month, which was in line with expectations. On an annual basis, wages increased 4.3%, which was 0.1 percentage point below the estimate. The average work week fell by 0.1 hour to 34.3 hours. The U.S. labor market continues to demonstrate grit amid chaos, from inflation to high-profile layoffs and rising gas prices, said Becky Frankiewicz, President and Chief Commercial Officer of Manpower Group, with 339,000 job openings. We're still rewriting the rule book, and the U.S. labor market continues to defy historical definitions. May's hiring jump was almost exactly in line with the 12-month average of 341,000 in a job market that has held up remarkably well in an economy that has been slowing. Professional and business services led job creation for the month with a net 64,000 new hires. Government helped boost, government helped boost the numbers with an addition of 56,000 jobs, while healthcare contributed 52,000. Other notable gainers include leisure and hospitality, 48,000, construction, 25,000, and transportation and warehousing, 24,000. Despite the big jobs gain, the unemployment rate increased in large part due to a sharp decline of 365,000 in self-employment. That was part of an overall drop of 310,000 counted as employment in the household survey, which is used to calculate the unemployment rate. And here is one of the key things in the article, and that is what we spoke about earlier in the video, and this is the biggest key in my opinion as to where the prices of gold and silver will be going in a couple weeks. It says the Federal Reserve has raised benchmark interest rates 10 times since March 2022 in an effort to fight inflation that hasn't gone away. And let me pause right there just for a moment, because even though it does cause a bunch of anguish and anxiety, I have watched every one of Jerome Powell's press conferences, and he says the same thing every time. The Federal Reserve is not going to finish raising interest rates. They're not going to be done. Their job is not going to be done until, this is what he keeps on saying. We're going to see if he is a man of his word or not. He says the Federal Reserve is not going to be done until inflation is down to its 2% goal. Is he going to stick to that? That's going to be the big $1 million question in this entire thing. I believe, in my opinion, the markets have baked in that the Federal Reserve in June is going to pause, not a pivot. No rate increases for the federal funds rate, but do a pause. Maybe not a complete bake-in, but I do believe for the most part, the markets have baked in a pause. Right before his prior rate increases, I always say it's not so much what he does. It's not so much the rate increase, but what he says at that press conference following said rate increase. But I think this time it's different, because I do believe the markets have baked in a pause. If he decides to raise rates by 25 basis points or more, I do think we will see a big dip in the silver and gold prices, in my opinion. I do watch all of Jerome Powell's press conference, and he has said time and time again, there's going to be no pivot in 2023. However, I believe the markets choose to not believe a word that he says. I do believe that the companies, the markets, the media all expects him to still do some sort of a pivot in 2023, even though he has time and time again said the pivot will not come until 2024. But let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. Just my opinion. This is not financial advice. That's just my thoughts. And then the article goes on to say, in recent days, some policymakers have indicated a willingness to take a break in June from the succession of rate hikes as they look to see what impact the policy tightening is having on the economy. Then here's another key part of this article. It says, however, odds for a June rate hike increased after the jobs report. Traders were pricing in about a 38% for another quarter point hike, according to CME Group data. Another key to this whole thing of what the Federal Reserve is going to do is going to be CPI data. I already stated that June 13th and 14th, the FOMC is going to be meeting, but on June 13th, which is the first day of that 2-day meeting, they will be announcing the CPI data, what inflation is actually doing. Is inflation staying steady? Is inflation going up? Is inflation coming down? We will find that out on June 13th, 2023, so in about 2 weeks from the recording of this video. So I don't know what Jerome Powell is going to do. I think, like I previously stated, I think this is one of the biggest question marks, the biggest unknown out of the last 10 rate increases. Is he going to pause? Is he going to go up by 25 basis points? I believe a big part of Jerome Powell's decision will be based on June the 13th. How hot or not will the CPI data be when it's revealed on June the 13th? Will it be in line with expectations? Will the CPI data show that inflation is hotter than expected? Is it going to be cooling more than expected? We will find all that out on June the 13th. And then again, June the 13th and 14th is when the FOMC is going to be meeting, with June the 14th of 2023, that very big, very important announcement. And from there, where is the price of gold and silver going to go? Before I end this video, it's been about an hour or so since the job report has been revealed. Let's take a look and see how is gold and silver reacting. Currently, gold is down $12.50, or down a little more than half of a percentage point to $1,965.90. Silver is currently down 14 cents, or similar to gold, down a little bit more than half of a percentage point to $23.82. I appreciate everybody for watching. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think Jerome Powell is going to do when he makes that announcement, that very important announcement on June the 14th, 2023. I know a lot of people like to keep an eye on the Fed Watch tool to give an indication of what the Federal Reserve might do with interest rate increases. However, I don't think that's going to be necessarily accurate until about the day before rates are increased. So on June the 13th, after the CPI data comes out, the Fed Watch tool at that time will probably be a better indication of what Jerome Powell is going to do. Thanks everybody for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll talk to everybody on my next video. Thanks a lot, everyone.